As a freelance professional or small business owner, getting paid on time can be the difference between surviving for another month and financial disaster. For many of my clients, getting paid is more important than finding new business. Some of them don't have the time or the resources to find new work because they spend so much energy chasing after the money they're already owed. This isn't an issue unique to my client base. According to a 2013 article in Fortune magazine, 35% of all freelance workers in New York were paid late at least once that year, and 14% did work for clients who never paid them at all. Total lost wages in New York alone over that year was estimated at more than $3 billion. And according to Freelancers Union, the number of freelancers paid late was up to 77% in 2015, and each unpaid freelancer was owed an average of more than $6,000 in income. So because this is such a huge issue for freelance professionals of all types, I'd like to offer 3 techniques to navigate around the payment problem, and then talk a little bit about the method that I use with my own clients. Of course, the best time to solve a problem is before you have a problem. In terms of getting paid, this means applying a little law, a little psychology, and a little self-control. I'm a lawyer, so let's talk about the legal part first. If you set out clear payment terms in writing before you start a job, you're more likely to get paid. Now, you and I both know that formal and comprehensive contracts are often the exception rather than the rule, because negotiating a deal can be confusing, stressful, time-consuming, and might result in lost business. But not having a contract can be more detrimental in the long term, because without a written agreement, the terms of your engagement are based on vague and biased recollection on both sides. Without clear payment terms, you could be at the mercy and cash flow of your clients. Without an actual contract, your legal remedies could be limited. Having a contract is not a guarantee by any means in terms of getting paid, but it is a vital component. If you want to find out more about contracts in general, check out the links to our contracts episodes here. And when I talk about psychology, I'm talking about taking advantage of human motivation when defining your payment terms. See, I've observed a specific aspect of human nature in my practice. When a client wants something, he has more incentive to pay. After the client gets what he wants, he has less incentive to pay. If you structure your payment terms to receive payments weeks or months after you deliver your goods or services, you're working at a disadvantage. And I'm not the only person to advocate this concept. Life Hacker, Entrepreneur, and Fast Company magazines all discuss variations on the same idea. I'll get into details about my specific methods a bit later, although I realize not everyone is in a position to be paid before the work gets done. Now, when thinking about self-control, it's helpful to consider Sun Tzu. The famous general said in his seminal book, The Art of War, that some castles are not worth attacking, and some armies are not worth fighting. As a freelance professional, this means that there are some jobs not worth taking. You have to know which projects to walk away from. Instinct, experience, and research can warn you when a potential client might pose a payment problem and be more trouble than they're worth. If your background and reference checks of your clients reveal red flags, or if you get the sense in your initial discussion with your client that cash flow might be an issue, it might make sense to pass on the job and focus your attention on your paying clients. I know, no one likes to leave money on the table, but when you do work for someone who isn't paying, you not only lose time chasing them down for money, you lose time finding and servicing those clients who are actually growing your business. So if you walk away early from a potential problem, don't think of it as losing money. Think of it as avoiding issues and giving yourself the ability to make more money later on. Now that we've discussed the general concepts, let's look at a system that tries to take advantage of them. As a lawyer, people expect a certain amount of cold-blooded professionalism from me. In almost 10 years of independent practice, no client has questioned my payment terms or been late in paying me. I think the method I use is applicable to other types of small business, so I'll share it with you. Please feel free to modify it for your own needs. I call this method the tennis method. It gets its name from the back and forth dynamic of my business process. A typical engagement has 6 parts. First, a client finds me through a referral, an online post, or a fancy YouTube video and requests a free consultation online or over the phone. Once I understand what the client needs and I determine I can do the job, I send them an engagement letter, which is a type of contract, laying out the service I'm willing to provide and the payment I require for that service. The client then expresses their agreement to the engagement letter by paying half my fee upfront. By the way, when it comes to getting paid, I try to make it as easy as possible. I use PayPal. But if you want to use Bitcoin or QuickPay or some other thing the kids are using now, go ahead. Just choose something easy and secure. Now, once I receive the initial payment, I perform all the tasks detailed in the engagement letter. Once the work is done, I notify the client, and the client delivers the remainder of the fee. Once the final payment is received, all the deliverables are sent to the client. Do you notice how the dynamic plays into human motivation on both sides? Once the client pays, I have the incentive to start working because she gave me money, because I know I won't get the rest of it until I do the work. The client pays because they know nothing will happen until they pay. And after they've made the first payment, they don't want to throw their initial money away by not getting the contracts. Everyone stays honest, and everyone gets what they want. I know every small business may not be able to utilize this tennis method. The goods or services you have might not lend themselves to this process, and you might not be in a position to dictate payment terms in the first place. But as I said before, it might be better to walk away from a deal where you won't get paid, rather than to stick it out, hope for the best, and not get paid. If you do get in bed with a non-paying client, and you can't get your invoices paid on your own, you might want to consider working with a collection agency to help get better results. Collection agencies open up a whole new set of issues, and using them means you'll never recover the full amount of what you're owed, but some payment is better than no payment. Just make sure you do your research and use a reputable agency that has a debt collection license. We've added links to Better Business Bureau approved agencies and with some tips from Rocket Lawyer in the show notes if you need them. So if you're an artist or freelancer who's had experience, good or bad, with collecting money from clients, please feel free to share your story in the comment below and tell us how it worked out for you. Just as a reminder, keep in mind, contract law is a very complex issue, and every situation is unique, especially with getting paid. A short video like this isn't legal advice, so if you're dealing with a specific contract question, contact your legal advisor or email me for a free consultation. Now, this channel is about how the worlds of artistic creativity, business, and law come together. If you're interested in finding out more, and you'd like to see more videos as they're released, then like this video, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next week.